Thank you for being a part of the Travel Again Policy Advisor video series. We're having these briefings as a part to gain insight from our expert advisors about their views on rebuilding traveler confidence. And our guest today is Jennifer Wilson-Buttigieg from Valerie Wilson Travel, and a longtime industry participant leader, and somebody that I think can give us some terrific insight about the world of distribution and how it's changing. So welcome.
Mike, it's great to be here. Thank you.
So let's start with the kind of big picture. What have you been seeing in your sector? And as you talk to your clients, what are they telling you right now in this environment?
I think it's quite amazing to recognize that travel tourism, particularly from the travel management side, has been down up to 90% off year over year. That's a staggering figure. I almost don't know how I can say it with a straight face these days, because as leaders, we try to build up things and build up teams. And what leaders have needed to do is, I hate the word pivot too, but reassess and rebuild teams. So part of our goal here is to talk to our customers, find out when is the right time to get them back on the road, both from the corporate traveler, the meeting and incentive customer, as well as the leisure traveler.
Yeah, you've got a unique perspective because you cover all those sectors. And I think logically, it looks like we'll have some transient travel start to come back, but then the bigger groups, the certainly for convention travel, the incentive travel sector, I know has just been decimated. 100%, right? Those will take longer to certainly rebuild, but we will.
Absolutely. I think the one underlying factor that I'm reminded of is that this industry is so resilient. Once you have the travel bug and you want to be a part of it, you're going to stay in it.
Right. Yeah, we say that about working in our industry too. And boy, our resilience is being tested as well. But here we are.
Here we are.
So what things do you think are most important when it comes to improving traveler confidence?
That's why I'm so excited with this Travel Again organization. It is recognizing that we need a clear message. We need a concise message. There's so much uncertainty in the world. And we as leaders in an industry that we love and that we're so passionate about have the ability to set the stage. So very simply, as the executive summary says, we want people to have testing. We know there are going to be vaccines. We know that we're going to have to create a digital health passport. We hope we might even have the opportunity to create a travel czar or a cabinet level position. It's not one thing, Mike. That's the great part of this. It's all part of a multi-prong approach it's much like a puzzle. It's going to take time. And what we're trying to do is put the edges of the puzzle together right now.
That's a great analogy because one, I think, it's why we all came together, because we thought it was desperately needed. And I think even in our process, I know we have a lot of work to do now to get industry buy-in and to get everybody thinking the same way. I think that alone will create, some really positive outcomes for our industry.
Absolutely. What we need is our entire ecosystem. It doesn't matter if it's an airline or a hotel company, a rail company, a car company, a group, or TMCs. All of us. It is so important that we focus on what travel and tourism brings to the overall GDP and how we can help this segment come back. And to do that, it's that crawl, walk, run. We've got to start to have the protocols so we can start to have that confidence come back.
Yeah. So what do you think the most challenging part we have ahead? I mean, we've certainly got a lot of challenges, but what does something stand out to you?
Two things. We have a lot of great leaders, but we have to put ego aside. This is a bigger challenge. After 9/11, and I remember being in New York that day, we have to remember that the policies and procedures weren't created overnight. We didn't take our shoes off until 2 years later. So this is going to be an evolution. And I encourage everybody to have the patience and the grit to get through it. Yeah. But in particular, I want us to work collaboratively.
Yeah, I talked a good bit about also about it's almost in a way we have to stop competing and just think of it as a broad collaboration, because the brand competition, the turf competition, it doesn't work here.
There's no place for that.
Yeah.
Exactly, Mike. There's no place for that competition when business remains 70 to 90% down. As former chair of the CAC, which is the Corporate Advisory Council with ASTA, it's the 45 largest travel management firms in North America. Yes, we're all competitors, and yes, we all want to excel at providing customer service, but over the last 10 months, we've come together as an organization to share the pitfalls, share how difficult it was, whether with PPP funding or Main Street lending. We're here as a resource for each other. And the only way the entire industry is going to get back is if we work together.
I agree. So what made you want to join our policy advisor group?
Well, I could joke, I could say I'm quiet and shy, but no one would believe me. And you and Ed wouldn't, after working with me the last couple of weeks on this. I'm a doer. I'm a connector, and I feel very fortunate that 30 plus years into this industry. Yes, I come from a family business side of it, with a diverse clientele. It was the perfect opportunity to bring people together and to say how much I believe in this industry and that we can make things better. So I was glad I shot you an email. I'm super proud you called me back, and thank you for including me as a policy advisor.
Well, you've been a terrific advisor and really bringing some great insight into the group, and it's been, again, a great experience so far. So we hope
And a
you
pleasure to get to know
stick
you.
around. Yeah.
People that we didn't know or we knew of. I certainly knew of your names, but to really be able to work together. And I think that is something that Travel Again is doing beautifully, breaking down separate silos and allowing us to connect for the greater good.
Well, now we got to do it on a much, much broader scale.
That's actually the second thing that worries me. How are we going to do this globally? And
So,
one foot in front of the other is the way that I look at it.
yeah, but the good news is too, like even just putting out the recommendations, I think we're already getting a lot of folks reaching out, putting their hand up in a similar fashion, saying we're going to help. And if we get some good working groups going and keep expanding this out, I think we can. I think now that we've got a good playbook to work from,
I absolutely believe we can make a difference. I have no doubt about that.
So I have to, in close, I've got to ask, the question everyone asks in these situations, like, where were you? What was your last trip when the pandemic kind of curtain came down? Where were you?
It's so funny. It's like a moment in time. You definitely remember where you were when John Lennon was killed, or when the Challenger exploded, or on 9/11, et cetera. So this is going to be one of those moments, and everybody remembers it. All my customers have the exact same story. I was my February was busy. I was in London for a family funeral, and I got to see so many relatives on my husband's side. And just seeing London, which is a city I love and lived in and used to go to 10 times a year. And I can't believe that was just February. And then I was at Disney with Travel Market Report, part of their editorial board, trying to figure out what the plan for 2020 was. And boy, that was not on any of our agendas.
Yeah, and so then we get traveling again safely. Where would you personally like to go when you get back out there again?
It's a great question. What I would say is a couple things. I went through a personal exercise for myself to say, how many states have I been to? And it's 48 in the continental US, and including Alaska and Hawaii. Obviously, I goofed on that one. And I looked at the countries I'd been to, and I marked them off with a check for the ones I'd been to, and I circled the ones I want to go to. And on my list, I'm an explorer. I want to go to Israel and India. I want to go to Bhutan, and I definitely want a gorilla trek in Rwanda. I've done that in Uganda. But I traveled throughout the pandemic. I did a couple state to state trips driving, and I flew. And I was so impressed with how clean the airports are, how safe and clean the airlines are, following the protocols. I did not feel hesitant at all. In fact, instead, it was the absolute inverse. I was so excited as the plane went off the runway and took off, and you go above the clouds. It was fantastic.
Hopefully we can help millions of people rediscover their travel bug again. I think we will.
I know we will, because travel isn't just part of our economic ecosystem. It's a part of who we are as people. And as human beings, we want to connect. So I absolutely know it will come back. And I look forward to helping our industry travel again.
So any last final thoughts for everybody as we head into the new year?
Yeah, I would say be open-minded. Recognize that travel and tourism is a part of our lives, not only for economics and for our businesses, but for us as people. So when I went through the exercise recently of how many states have I been to, and it's 48, and how many countries have I been to, I checked the ones that I visited, but I circled the ones I haven't been to. And I can't wait to get back out there and travel again.
Good. Keep that spirit because that we'll need it. We'll all need it. But I think you're right. I don't think we need to convince people to want to travel. We just need to make them confident in doing so again. And
We need
that's
to set the protocols and we need to instill the confidence and we have to lead by example. So thank you so much for the opportunity today.
well. Thank you for coming as always. Great commentary. Thanks for all your help and look forward to working on this with you again in 2021.